Welcome to Horrors Yet Unseen, the podcast where we assign each other horror movies to watch and then talk about it so our spouses don't have to listen to us go on and on and on about scary stuff they don't like. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steve. Let's talk about some scary movies. By the way, there will absolutely be spoilers in this show. You have been warned.
Well, I spent way too long on this. I wanted to tell you. I went from like 320 some Letterboxd movies watched on my under films. I'm now at 1,065.
Holy cow.
Because I've spent so long.
Dude.
Yesterday. Well, my thought was, I'm going to log every movie I've ever seen. So I'm going to go into, what is it? I'm going to
at least click seen.
At least click watched, right? If I don't actually rate it, fine, because it's a lot. I'm going to go in, I'm going to go into search. I'm going to hit most popular. It's going to pull up a bunch of stuff. Then I'm going to go into the filter and go, like, I'm going to take off the movies already on my watch list and, just kind of refine the search a little bit. And then it was just a simple matter of continuing to drain my iPad battery over the last 2 days of me just going in. And so I went from like 320 some, 350 some movies watched.
And that's not just horror movies. That's just movies in general.
These are just,
right?
This is every movie I have. Now, I'm sure that there could still be some refining that needs to be done with that 1,065 movies, but I was like, whoo! I told Casey, I was like, I spent way too long watching movies. Like, this is a problem.
Hey, guess what? When I Google Horrors Yet Unseen, just the words, we are number 1 on Google.
That's what's up.
Actually, the Apple podcast page is the number 1 thing. And the second result, for me anyway, is from Amazon.co.uk. Says episode 1, super crunchy. So
all right.
That's interesting. That's like the first 2 things.
Yeah.
On there.
That's what's up. We're coming for you, Joe Rogan. We're coming for you, dude.
Joe Rogan.
You ain't got nothing on us, dude. You ain't got nothing.
Okay, let me, what are we doing here?
But also, please don't hurt me.
Of all people to worry about.
I'm not. If I reach the point where Joe Rogan hears what I just did and just shows up to beat me up, I'm gonna ask my wife to film it. Be like,
that's awesome.
I'm gonna cower immediately because I don't want to fight Joe Rogan. But I just want that to be clear. I don't want to fight Joe Rogan. I'm sure his followers are a whole lot more crazy than Joe actually is.
I don't know. I mean, the fact that you have to, if you listen to Joe Rogan, you are a crazy person. That's just how it goes.
Hey, listen, sometimes Joe has on some of my favorite comedians, and so I don't listen to the 3 hours that they're on because that's a ridiculous amount of time. But,
fair.
I do at least watch the clips,
Yeah. Wow, 1,065 films. That's a lot of films.
Yeah, I mean, how many are you at? Is that also like a thought of that you've had? Are you going back through time and logging all of those films, or are you just going current on? I kind of did for a
while. How many? I've got 129 altogether. I probably should go through. Well, I saw a stinker of a movie this week.
Smoking Hot Turd.
Smoking Hot Turd.
Which one is it?
It's called The Special. It's from 2020. It's a quote-unquote horror movie. It's basically an episode of like Black Mirror that went on too long. And I'm embarrassed. I can't believe I haven't even brought it up because I'm embarrassed to have watched it because it's a stupid movie.
The Special.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since you watched it, I should also watch it and we should talk about it. Or we should add it into our episode where we talk about smoking hot turds.
Yeah, maybe we should do that because
We gotta, you gotta get your list, and I gotta get my list ready to go.
Yeah, I don't want to assign this one to you because I don't want to put anybody through this.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's. I saw it on a list of like most disturbing horror movies. I thought it can't be that bad. It's bad. It's that bad.
Like it can't be that bad as far as being disturbing, or it can't be that bad as far as
disturbing.
Its direction is concerned.
Both.
Okay.
I mean, it was touted as a disturbing movie, and it's mostly the ending is super disturbing, but it's also very badly done.
Okay.
And I also saw Species 1, 2, and 3.
I wanted to watch Species, at least the first one, for whatever reason. I think I wanted to put it on my October list.
Yeah, it's it's good. Species 1 is good. It's fine. It's an enjoyable, fun watch. It's like 90s horror.
Mm-hmm.
But Species 2 is so bad that it's actually great fun. It's like really fun to watch. It's so bad. Species 2 it's bad.
Great.
See, it's my whole completionist problem that I've got. Got to finish it out. There's one more Species movie, and I'm not sure I can do it. But
Species? You mean to tell me that Species 4 is not going to be as good? I can't believe that.
I know. Yeah. Like my review for the special was just no. Just period.
Is that really what you wrote down? I'm gonna go in here. Just no. That's it. No. Period.
It's what it
1
was.
star. So I've actually started to do something. This is something that I would bring up in the Smoking Hot Turds episode. Is if I on my Letterboxd, if I have my system is if I've rated a movie a half a star, it means I don't want to rate it. It really is 0 to negative stars.
Okay.
Like but because I don't have the option of a 0 star rating, because a 0 star rating on Letterboxd is the same as not rating the movie. So you have to rate it at least
choose
something.
A 0. Yeah.
Right. You can't choose a 0. Which you should be able to. There should be a Smoking Hot Turd button on this thing. Because there's like a spoiler. If you do the review, there's like a spoiler thing. Or I have seen it before. There should also be a button at the bottom of the little review thing that says, this is a Smoking Hot Turd. And you tap that and it knows what to do. I'm going to message Letterboxd about that. But, and I would encourage all of our listeners to also do the exact same thing. And so, yeah. So if it's a half a star, I don't want to rate it. It's a 0 star to just.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wide range of from negative a billion all the way to 0, and so I have a lot of half star things.
Yeah, I should probably start doing that. I have like 3 1.5 stars.
Why is the special not half star then? Well, you got to change it.
It deserves a half a star because it's an interesting idea. Like, it deserves the other half. I mean, it deserves a full star just because of the concept of it was really interesting and like out there. But Titan, T-A-T-A-N-E, how do you say that? T-I-T-A-N-E. It's a French word. It's been on the list of like all these great movies, and I watched that, and my review for that one was also just no. It's messed up, but it's like got a 3.6 stars on Letterboxd. It doesn't make any sense to me. I like that. Let's do a Smoking Hot Turds episode sometime soon.
Yes, I was talking with my friends about that. How I wanted to do. I had different ideas for different concepts of episodes that we could do, and Smoking Hot Turds is one of them.
Yeah.
Also, my wife said last night that we should do an episode where we get our wives on the podcast.
Oh, that's a good idea.
To talk about why they don't like horror movies. And I was that's
really good.
That's a good episode.
Yeah.
Especially since the beginning of like the intro is so our wives don't have to listen to us.
Right.
And the fact that my wife was like, I'd do that. I'd be on the episode to talk about it. And I was like, I don't think we have to twist Christy's arm to get her on the episode either.
She'd do it. Yeah, she'd do it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Now, I did want to ask you, we talked about your list of things that you don't want to watch.
Yes.
And that's one of your lists on Letterboxd, if anybody wants to go to that.
Yes. Not interested.
Right. Not interested.
Yes.
Can you give me a highlight of like why you're not interested in those, or is it just everyone's a different reason, or you've seen some of them and you hate them? And
well,
what does that list mean?
I took the time. There's like 50 movies on there, and all of them are examples of horror subgenres that I think are pointless horror subgenres, at least at this point moving forward. If not from the very inception of the movie all the way through the smoking hot turd phase into final production. And so
I'm curious what those genres are.
Okay, so
or a few of them.
Yeah, okay. I wrote down 13 movies here, and here are my reasons why I didn't like each movie. This is incredibly subjective. Most of these reasons are going to be completely stupid, just to give some sort of preface so people don't hear their movie and go, Zach doesn't have any taste. I do have taste. I do. You just like a smoking hot turd. Just admit it. Just admit that you like a turd and I have a better taste. Just admit that. Because I'm also
Zach.
I'm also not wrong. Don't
whatever you
shush
say.
Me, Steve. Don't.
No. I'm not shushing. I'm just dismissing you. So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and you be the comment section in this thing because I know that there are movies that I'm going to say that you like, and I'm sure you'll have some sort of rebuttal. Okay, the movie Barbarian.
Right.
I thought this movie had an interesting premise. From the trailer, I was like, this seems odd and seems like a fun time. It was not. It was a trash movie. Okay. It takes the Airbnb and Vrbo owners hiding cameras in their rentals way too far. Like, because there is that real life concept of cameras being hidden in those types of rental properties, right?
Mm-hmm. But there are no cameras in this rental property.
There aren't cameras. There are other things, and I'd just rather stick with cameras at that point. You know what I mean?
So you just don't like the genre of like Airbnb thing. Something goes wrong.
At least in this particular regard, these movies, by the way, as we go through the list of 13, are going to increase in severity. So that one is the lightest one.
All right.
I could possibly be swayed to watch it again. But the ending also wasn't very satisfying, and so I just kind of wrote that one off. Okay. Mother is the second movie. Okay. We're increasing in severity. Mother, to me, is too artsy.
It's very artsy.
This represents the Beau isn't afraid, or whatever. Beau's not afraid. Beau is afraid, or whatever the Joaquin Phoenix movie. Their movies are too artsy. I just want to enjoy.
They're trying too hard.
Yep. I want to just enjoy a nice movie. If I have to look up the meaning of your movie, or I discover later on that your movie had some sort of hidden depth that was not perceivable by literally any schmuck who watched this movie, except for the director. He had or she had some idea in their mind that they didn't put on screen. Don't give that director any more money. They can't make any more movies. They go to their room. Go to your room, and Mother is one of them. Okay?
So you're kind of a don't make me think when I'm watching a movie type person? Like just pure entertainment?
It's not necessarily that I don't want to think.
And I'm not trying to be pejorative about that. It's just,
Yeah, it's not that I don't necessarily want to think. Okay? I watched Barbie. Barbie caused me to think. It was a great kind of existential movie, but it was also fun. It was entertaining. But, like, my problem with Mother was the fact that when I looked up the meaning of this movie and I realized that I didn't pick up on any of the themes that the director was going for, you might say I just felt inferior. I just thought, like, what's the point of this? You and I were talking a couple months ago about how there are anti-Nazi themes or whatever the case is in Midsommar.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I've seen that movie like twice. Did not pick that up. So, you know who doesn't have like anti-Nazi themes in that movie? Midsommar. Because you didn't put there's no way. If someone's got to hold my hand and walk me through the meaning of your movie, shot by shot, you did a bad job of communicating. Anyway, we spent too much time on Mother. Because that's only number 2. Suspiria. Okay? Evil Coven of Dance Witches. I'm out. Okay?
I tried to watch that one, dude. I tried.
It's so bad. Okay?
Oh, so much dancing.
It's too much. And that's literally the only note that I wrote for this. Evil Coven of Dance Witches. Next. I'm on to the next movie. I don't want to... I'm out. Okay? The Invisible Man. Unnecessary remake of a remake of a remake of a remake. This is the...
Get a new idea?
Yep. This is a Kate... I think, is it Kate Moss? Is that her name?
Yeah. Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah. So who's Kate Moss then? Why did she go up in my head?
She's a British model or actress or something.
I don't have a clue. I thought that was. I clearly got those confused. Anyway. Okay. The point is like I've seen the original 1933 Universal monster movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because this past October, I decided to go through some of those old movies.
Right.
Don't do that. That's a bad idea. I just want to, if you're thinking about, oh man, I want to go through the Dracula and the Wolfman. Don't do that. Don't do that. They're bad. Okay? They were appreciated in 1933 when they came out.
Right. I tried watching in preparation for watching what was it? The Dracula Renfield.
Yeah.
In preparation for watching Renfield, I pulled up the original Dracula from 1930 whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so painful.
Yep.
So painful to watch.
It's boring. So mainly because that's all they had. Like the amount of creative energy that they had back in 1931 when they were making these movies, not as creative as today. Also resources, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, be done with this concept.
Right.
Be done with the Invisible Man. Okay. Next, Infinity Pool. I don't know what the purpose of this movie is.
I hated that movie.
I'll just say it out loud. I don't know what it is. If it has a purpose other than, because it's not entertaining, so that can't be the purpose. Is it supposed to be just zany? Is it just supposed to be wacky? Is it supposed to be a complete misuse of money? Yeah.
So what genre would that be? Subgenre that you're not liking?
That's a good question. I've not thought that far. I don't know.
Hedonism for the sake of hedonism?
Probably. I don't know.
Like,
that's
it's
probably
kind of like I'm guessing Terrifiers, gore for the sake of gore.
Right.
So
the Invisible Man would represent a subgenre of just remakes of remakes of remakes of remakes. We don't need to stop.
Remakes.
Just be done. Yeah. Be done. Okay. After Infinity Pool, any Conjuring movie or any Insidious movie after the first one.
Okay.
You're beating a dead horse.
Yeah, there's only like seven Conjuring movies.
Yep. Be done. And I mean all the spin-offs. Yeah. We're talking about Annabelle. We're talking about The Nun. We're talking about any of them. After the first one, by the way. So I'm fine with you going The Conjuring 1, done. Annabelle 1, done. The Nun 1, done.
So you don't like things that just are repeating themselves, it sounds like, in general.
Well, okay, so this is what I wrote down. We're beating a dead horse at this point.
Okay.
These movies have now become like the Now That's What I Call Music CDs. Okay? Because we're now at like The Conjuring 850 or The Nun 675. Stop. Just
It's
be
like,
done.
Yeah.
I think I heard a news report that they're making maybe one more Conjuring movie or one more Insidious movie. Like they have to finally like wrap it up. And I'm like, it was wrapped up after the first one.
Yeah.
Because the second one is the same as the first one. And so is the third one is the same.
Verse, same as the first.
Exactly. Yeah. Henry VIII. Here we go.
Right.
So next is the Meg.
I haven't seen that one.
Just don't.
Yeah.
I'll give you hey, a gigantic unnecessary shark eats a bunch of people and we send Jason Statham to try to figure out how to defeat this massive shark in his territory. Like,
right.
Stupid. Okay.
All right.
There is no movie that is there is no shark movie that's better than Deep Blue Sea.
Never seen it.
What? Okay.
I've seen Jaws.
Right. Okay. So Jaws is a good example. The Deep Blue Sea I thought was a great movie. I shouldn't say great. It was fine. Top tier shark movie, right? Okay. But just stop making shark movies. Okay? Especially post Sharknado.
Oh, there's like 4 or 5 of those.
Just be done. We're out of ideas as far as shark movies are concerned. Just be done. Lamb.
Oh.
Next movie. Lamb. I wrote down 3 things. 3 things for this movie. Short, sweet, and to the point. Number 1, bestiality. Number 2, sinful. Number 3, next movie. Okay? It's too much. I can appreciate an A24 movie. A24 is known for being a little maybe too artsy. I'm fine with a lot of A24 movies. I don't know what sort of peyote or some sort of I don't know what anyone was smoking when they came up with the movie Lamb, but again, bestiality, sin.
Well, is it bestiality if I mean, yes, it's a sheep on the one side, but if the other side is a half human, half ram person thing animal?
How did it get that way? That's all I'm saying, dude.
Had to start somewhere.
It had to start somewhere, dude. And I'm just saying, we've been around for a long time. Humanity has been around for a long time. Animals have also been around for a long time. How is this not a bestiality movie? Okay? You tell me.
I'm not arguing with you on that one. I hated the movie myself, but mostly because it was so slow and so boring and just stupid. Like,
yeah, this movie's dumb.
This child has a lamb's head, and nobody's like, that's odd. They're like, right. No, they're like, go get the crib.
Exactly. Oh, we have to take it in. It can't die out here. Yes, it can.
And the bad guy in the movie was like the brother or whatever, and he was the only sane one. He wanted to like put the thing down. I'm like, that's the right response.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the right response. But nobody ever listens to the rational people. They always listen to the crazy people in the movies. And then at the ending of the movie, the little lamb's dad shows up, blows people's heads off, and takes his son. Because of course he would.
Yep.
Because of course you stole his son. Also, you're a bad dad. You left your kid out in the middle of a field or wherever they found him. Like, you're a bad dad. Okay? Also, bestiality. Knock it off. I don't have time. I don't have time. Okay, next. Any movie that begins with The Haunting of or The Exorcism of, trash movie.
Okay, what about The Haunting of Hill House or The Haunting of Bly Manor, the TV show on Netflix?
I
It's not
can't
movies.
even begin to watch them because they break my one rule that I just said. Don't.
Mike Flanagan,
I can't do
dude.
it. I know. Listen,
Hill House is really good.
I concede that there may be flaws in this system. Okay?
But you got to have a structure, right?
That's why I said these opinions are ridiculous from the very beginning.
Understood and agreed. Go ahead.
Okay, so
There are a lot of those movies, and they are often very, 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 very similar.
yeah, they're very similar, and that's my point. These are unoriginal concepts at this point. They have cheap jump scares, and they lack a plot and character development. Because the whole point of the movie is everything's perfectly fine. Oh no, somebody did something they shouldn't be doing, and they messed with a Ouija board, or they tried to get in contact with people who are dead, or they did blah, 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 whatever they weren't supposed to be doing. Hey, let's go down to the basement and let's look at all these old antiques that Grandma had. Nope, Grandma was a witch. Get the heck out of the house. Don't touch Grandma's stuff. Whatever it is. And oh, you got possessed, and oh, now Amy's head's turning around, and her body's all contortion-y and weird CGI crap, and then she kills a bunch of people that are completely innocent, and then they call in the priest, because who else would you call? And the priest is like, no, Jesus, and the devil's
Something
like,
rotten.
get the heck out of here, you loser, and they go back and forth, and then all of a sudden, like, the demon wins, or, you know, I don't know I
get you. Yeah.
That's what it makes me feel like. It's just, at this point. Be done. Just be done. Unless you come up with an original concept. Like, for example, Talk to Me is a slightly original concept that it's a possession movie that had me hooked.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be hooked.
It's a different kind of thing.
But it had me hooked. And so that one breaks this particular rule. So if you come up with a good concept, I'll watch it. But if you're just if your movie starts with The Haunting of, just Google The Haunting of and find out how many movies are called The Haunting of blank. Or The Exorcism of blank. How many?
A lot.
Be done. Okay. Next, Escape Room.
Uh-huh.
This is Discount Saw. It's unoriginal.
Discount Saw?
It's Discount Saw. I watched both of these movies, and they're meant to be like, the hook in the movie apparently is it's kind of it's also very Squid Game-ish, because there is these rich people who are paying to kidnap people to put them through a gross escape room. Again, Discount Saw.
It's very Squid Game.
So if you haven't noticed so far, a lot of these movies have the same kind of through line. They are just repeats.
Right, exactly, yeah.
We're just repeating and regurgitating nonsense at this point. Okay, so we have officially we're reaching the summit of this mountain we're climbing. Okay. Last three movies, I'm going to blow through them real quick. Number one, the Human Centipede franchise. I'm going to say the word franchise with an asterisk next to it, like all the asterisks, all of it. I just missaid the word asterisk, but okay. Suturing, this is what I said. Suturing people's mouths to other people's butts is gross.
You don't even need to say it.
It's gross. Okay?
Gross.
It's gross.
It's beyond gross.
And I don't necessarily want to shame people. But I also understand that sometimes a healthy amount of shame keeps people from doing some things that they probably shouldn't be doing anyway. Okay?
Yeah.
This is one of them.
If anybody's sewing mouths to butts, that's a problem.
That's a problem. It's a problem. Okay? Also, the movie posters ruined what little plot these movies had. Because in the first movie, how many people are on the movie poster? 3. How many people in the first movie got sutured together? 3. In the second movie, how many people are on the poster? I don't know. More? Because that's the point of these movies. Hey, let's just keep going.
Yeah, it's
and when my first centipede dies, I'll just make a new one. No, that's gross. Knock it off. Okay?
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them, and I refuse to.
Yeah, you should. Second to last, the Hostel franchise.
Ugh.
There's no need for this movie. There's no need for these last 3 franchises. No need. Yeah. The Human Centipede, no need for this franchise. No one is going to go, you know what horror is missing? Human Centipede. It's missing this. It's also missing a bunch of rich people capturing a bunch of unsuspecting European travelers, American travelers in Europe or whatever, and paying because they've completely exhausted their adrenal gland to the point where now the only way that they can feel is if they torture other people. What are we doing?
Yeah, to me, that's the general subgenre of like torture porn. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't. Ugh.
Yep, it's unnecessary.
And a lot of these are from what I'm getting is from you is that there's a lot of this like X for the sake of X, whatever for the sake of whatever.
Yep.
And whether it's gore or torture or just being gross, like the centipede thing, it's like that's just gross.
Mm-hmm.
And if
there's no need for
it, if the only thing about your movie is that it's grosser than other movies, I mean, whatever.
That's not a good enough reason for a studio to greenlight a script. That's not.
It is
a lot of these movies lack
money.
Depth. Yeah, a lot of these movies will lack a depth. They'll lack character development. They will really just because they're the whole plot of the movie is the violence. Right. So it's why Saw really kind of went off the rails after the second one. Yeah, because like the first one, holy cow! I was like, this is a great concept, but let's be done. He woke up off the ground. He ripped the thing off. You're like, oh my gosh, that was a crazy twist. And then he's like, game over, and slams the door. And that was a great movie, right?
Yeah.
You made the second one. You're like, all right, well, let's see where they're going to go.
And stuff. Yeah.
They didn't necessarily go in a bad place. It wasn't a great sequel, but it didn't necessarily go to a bad place. The third movie, they were like, oh, well, now we've made 2 amazing Academy Award movies that have massive box offices. And that's an incredible amount of sarcasm there. And that because that's the way the movie executives treated this as, let's make 7 more movies. And yeah, I think they even in like the third one or the fourth one, whatever it was, whenever Amanda took over, I
think I only made it through number 3. I didn't get to past 3.
She starts to kill people. So this is one of my problems with the franchise, the Saw franchise, which by the way is not the last franchise after Hostel. I'm just getting off on a tangent here. Amanda starts killing people because Jigsaw can't. Like he has cancer.
Oh, right.
She's trying to help him, right? So she doesn't make an adequate way out.
Right.
And so she's just killing people to kill people. And Jigsaw is like, hey, they have to learn a lesson. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me that they wrote into the script, don't just kill people to kill people. Like, the point of this is not to kill them. The point is to teach them a lesson. And if they die, like dying is a choice in all of those things. So what do they do in Saw 4 and Saw 5 and Saw 6?
I don't know.
And Saw 7 and Saw 8 and how about 9? And I think there's a Saw 10.
The fact that you have seen them.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm curious. Okay.
Yeah, I get you.
And
I get you. I mean, I have the same problem.
sometimes you play with the mousetrap because you're like, what is this? And then your finger gets snapped. And you're like, oh, that won't happen a second time. And it does. Okay.
Or it gets cut if it gets cut off because that's where the key is inside your finger, and then have to.
Yeah. Then you just like, oh, I got 9 other digits. Let's just keep going.
Right.
Okay. The last but not least, the Terrifier franchise. This is the absolute height of unnecessary mountain. This is it. Okay. I actually think that there may be a correlation. If I was still in school, my science fair project would be the direct correlation between the rising mental illness in America and also the rise in the Terrifier franchise. Like, I think that there's a correlation. People are like, what is the other point, Steve?
Well,
What's the point of these movies?
It's kind of torture porn, or just like just brutality, just pure brutality.
But why?
Right? Yeah. I'm not saying that I feel like there's a good why. I mean, okay, if this is a huge edge case, if a person who is obsessed with brutality can watch Terrifier and get that out of their system instead of like slicing up their family, cool. But I don't want to start using that's extreme, right? But that I don't want to start using movies as therapy for psychopaths.
But that's kind of what you did.
I just what I'm saying is that's what I've heard people say, like, it's good for him. Like, okay, that's a big stretch right there.
It's a big stretch.
It's a big stretch.
Yeah. So all I'm saying with my completely ridiculous list here, and I want to clarify that it's ridiculous, so don't come at me in the comments. First, stop giving Damien money. Okay, we need to stop. We need to boycott these movies. Isn't he like the director and writer of all of these movies? Damien Leone or whatever his name is.
I can't remember names.
Yeah. Okay. Damien Leone.
I'm talking to you. Yeah. Terrifier.
I'm talking to you. Okay. Just listen to the sound of my voice. Okay, Damien? Stop. We get it. Just go talk to a therapist, dude. Just that's it. I love you as a person. You're worthy of respect and dignity and honor. I completely want to respect all of that. Having said that, you have an illness and we need to talk about it. Okay?
Yeah.
And if I feel like I'm maybe the only one who does this because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, Art the Clown, let's go get t-shirts and let's go get other merch and blah, 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 whatever. No. Stop. You're also sick. You're not well. This is an opinion probably shared just exclusively by me. I do not want to throw Steve under the bus and include him in this completely ridiculous opinion. But also, if you think that Art the Clown is a great character, I think you should. I'm going to give you the number to my therapist, and we need an intervention maybe. We'll call up TLC, and we'll get them to fund the project. We can bring all your friends and family. And the one note that I actually did, like on a kind of serious note, because that's a ridiculous point. And I'm also being very divisive by my comments.
Yeah.
So let me find the note here. It's okay. So I said the sole point of these movies is exactly like the Hostel franchise, to show us the demented mind of the writers and creators. Like that's in my opinion, that's the point of these movies. Sawing a person in two from the undercarriage to the head is not anything anyone wants to see or should want to see. But that happened in the first Terrifier movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That was gross. She got really strung up by her feet, upside down, and they just mounted a camera to a freaking tripod and went, action, and sawed that lady in two. Obviously, she's not a real lady, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
But you did this enough. These movies were so gross in progression. Like they had the first Terrifier movie, and That one was gross. You had to top it in the second one. That bedroom scene was top shelf disgusting. Okay. But then after the teaser came out for the third one, I don't know if you heard the same thing that I did, but for like a week straight on a bunch of different like movie reviewing podcasts that I listened to, everyone was concerned. Is Art the Clown going to cut this little girl up? For like a week. And I'm like, if we're at that point where it's possible in our minds that these movies might go to in that direction, stop making them. Because we've clearly pushed the envelope too far. And that's why I think that now, having said that, will I slightly want to watch Terrifier 3? Of course. Because I'm sick and demented.
Well, you got to see if they're going to, what they're going to do with it, right? Are they going to improve?
Of course.
Are they going to change their ways?
I will not, under any circumstances, follow my own advice and stop watching movies like this. And that's why I'm being completely ridiculous with the entire list, is because there are I feel like to some degree in each of these subgenres I have a universal point. Please stop. Okay? But then also, like, because they don't stop, my curiosity gets piqued and I'm like, let's go. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. Now, having said that, depending on the severity of grossness, I don't watch it in the theater because I don't really fully want to see it. Okay? Mm-hmm. I just want to fast forward through it. That's it. Right. I just want the Cliff Notes version of this. So I'll wait till it's on streaming and just hit the 10-second button for an hour and a half. I'll just keep tapping it. 10 seconds, 10 seconds. Yep. And scrub through the movie and claim that I watched it. But the fact is that I watched the hour and a half movie in 15 minutes. And
I've done that.
Yeah, because it's gross. Especially, like I said, these back half movies. Like I don't really want to watch Terrifier 3, but I also slightly do want to see if Art the Clown's going to rip Santa's face off. And I will think it's gross no matter what.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's nice to see that you have boundaries.
I have no boundaries, Steve.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that it's nice that you're passionate and you have opinions, and that you're not judging anything here as wrong or,
100%. This was a judgment-free zone. Do whatever you want, but also please stop. When I made this list of these ridiculous movies, and also just the 50 on Letterboxd, in one of the episodes, it might have been the first one, when we talked about why we like horror, mm-hmm. and how horror can be like visualizing the worst on the screen,
mm-hmm.
and then watching the protagonist escape that, go through that trauma and come out the other side either better or just come out the other side alive.
Yep.
Gives people the sense that they can maybe take on the world or that their problems aren't so bad. Mm-hmm. And I like horror because of that.
Right.
But I do think that there are limits to what we see on screen. And maybe that's just my own. You can call me a prude. I don't care. I think
it's healthy to have limits. I mean, everybody has different limits, but I think it's healthy to have your own. And that's one thing that we talked about, how neither of us really could watch horror when we were kids, and I never really got into it till just recently. But I mean, I watched a lot of movies that I ended up wishing that I hadn't seen, just testing that boundary. How what's too much for me, Right. And I was really getting into like zombie movies for a while because I like The Walking Dead,
mm-hmm.
and I saw a few really interesting zombie movies, and then I came across it's called The Sadness. It's a It's a Korean movie, and it's kind of about zombies. It's kind of a different take on zombies, but it is so brutally disgusting and beyond disturbing. I can't unsee that, so do not see that movie, anybody.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be a happy movie. It's called The Sadness, but it's like too much. And so it's good to have boundaries, and we all should have the edge that we go to. And if you don't, I think I get concerned about your mental health. You know, like you were saying, the rise in mental health problems. It's like coincides with the Terrifier type stuff.
Yeah. And it's the popularity of art. Like people love that character, and I'm like, why? What is redeemable about this character? Is it, and also like in the second one, we've now entered into the supernatural. So now it's not just about like some freak kind of going around killing people. And by the way, I just missed it, or did no one call the cops? I've watched both movies, and I never saw anyone even remotely think about dialing 911.
I think they kind of covered that in the first one, at least. I've kind of blocked it out. But
also, how heavy is Art's trash bag? Okay, I've seen the stuff that dude's pulling out of that trash bag. It's a plot hole, and I think that they need to revisit it. I don't know what that Glad bag is lined with, but also because he's pulled some crazy things out of that bag, and it's full every time. It might get fuller every movie because he just goes around collecting useless trash that he ends up killing people with.
Well, I mean, it's like supernatural, you know. It's
a great commercial for Glad trash bags. Let me tell you right now, it can hold all bottle openers and saw blades and syringes, and just my trash bags that I buy, like, I feel like I look at them wrong and they get a hole in them. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I'm not buying like discount bags.
I find it interesting.
I'm just curious as to what is Art? Where is Art getting those trash bags? Because I got to get some of those trash bags.
I find it very interesting, the things that you get hung up on.
Yeah, that's a real problem for me in this movie. I'm like, how is he
not the fact that he was shot in the head and he gets up and walks away?
That's
trash bag's too big.
Yes, there are. Listen, you got to prioritize stuff, Steve. Okay, you have to think.
I'm learning so much from you. I'm learning so much,
and so yeah, it's not necessarily fully the gore that turns me away from these movies. It's the trash bag. I'm like, I don't know how I can't watch this movie again, because the trash bag is how does it not have holes in it? How is it not breaking? How is he carrying it?
Give the guy a wheelbarrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well. Anyway, we've gone on way too long about this. It's completely ridiculous. So let's get into our movies.
I think I'm just going to release this as its own episode.
That might be true. I mean, let's just do that.
And I love this. This is great. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. This is its own thing. And I was nervous about getting too deep into it because I knew that I could talk about completely ridiculous movies and also my completely ridiculous takes on movies. I could talk about them till the cows come home. Hence the reason this podcast exists. But yeah. I gotta get it out. I gotta talk about it with somebody.
I love it. I truly think it's great.
Yeah. Also, again, just to be clear, if you thought that any of that, if I was being serious about any of that stuff, I wasn't. I'm just kidding. But also,
kidding, not kidding.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not sorry. Kidding, not kidding. You know, I like with the possession stuff. That's my one big one. Besides the gore porn stuff, whatever. But right. The possession movies, I just come out with an original concept. That's all I want. And if you can't, then stop.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I've not seen it, but I did hear a review about this movie. The Pope's Exorcist.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Apparently, something that somebody got caught up on was the fact that Russell Crowe drives a Vespa or something like a Vespa in these movies. And he travels a great distance between point A and point B on a Vespa.
Very quickly.
Cobblestone streets of Rome or wherever he is, right? And they got caught up on the fact that there is no way that he traveled. I mean, his butt would have been killing him to travel from point A to point B and only be driving a Vespa. And I was like, now this is a reviewer that I can get behind right here, because that's a good plot hole that I would be like, how was that, dude? How? And also, how did no one think about that? You mean to tell me all those people in the credits and not one of them was like, I'm pretty sure you can't drive a Vespa that far.
Yeah, he was going from Rome to Madrid, and he did it in 2 hours on his Vespa.
And that's my point. Yeah. And I was like, and for that reason alone, I don't want to watch this movie. Not just the fact that it is because mainly
if they're going to screw that up, what else are they going to screw up?
Of course, if they can't get the Vespa thing right, what else can they get right? They can't get anything else right. And so, and that's the point of, that's the height of ridiculousness to me. Having said that, there is a good line of ridiculousness that will make me watch a movie even more. I'll want to watch it on repeat. And that brings me to Tucker and Dale versus Evil. But I've talked enough. Let's let you go. You talk about your movie.